Joy's passionate about heading and organizing socio-civic organizations, founding chairman of several organizations in Hong Kong to assist and help migrant workers, newly inducted member of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce, gets involved with all kinds of different organizations. So please welcome Joey Ortega, the CEO of Paradigm Global Investment.
Thank you, Richard. Fellow speakers, business leaders, Asia CEO Forum founders, Richard and Rebecca, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a great opportunity to address our Asia Finance Summit and discuss an important topic that could largely impact our economy. I was so delighted that our eminent economists already gave a backdrop about our economy, and Mr. Bloomer and partners also talked about private equity. So now I am going to drill down on the details. My presentation will focus on the developing private equity sector in the Philippines. I will start by presenting the challenges that we have experienced in the development of PE, such as the entry of investors into family corporations, communications between investors and investees, and transparency. The second part is focused on the paradigm shift that is required to hasten the development of the PE sector. I'll talk about our vision on developing the PE sector, the importance of understanding cultural nuances, and the sharing of best practices to drive a paradigm shift in the mindset of local businessmen. I spent my past 22 years based in Hong Kong and decided to move back last August to lead the development of our company's various business lines in the Philippines. I've enjoyed the past 6 months because it's really more fun in the Philippines. When we started developing our PE business, we faced some challenges. We started with the rural banking sector, where I had a few friends, where a law was passed allowing foreigners to own up to 60% of a rural bank. After a month of meeting key business leaders and executives from the rural banks, we concluded that this sector is not an easy target for PE. Most of these banks are controlled by families who would rather maintain the status quo than cede control to outside investors. They're happy with their regular board meetings, which also serve as their family get-togethers. The rural banking sector, with over 500 banks, is as fragmented as our 7,100 islands which they serve. When we explored other business sectors, we found out that there was a similar sentiment of family-owned companies not willing to let foreigners or Filipino outsiders take a seat in their board. I used to work for San Miguel, ING, Edward Keller, DKSH, so I observed that the company culture at multinational corporations is very different from local companies, most of which are family-owned. Recently, one of our potential investee companies requested for a weekly coffee session to get acquainted with me personally. They emphasized that we had to go through a dating period, engagement, and eventual marriage. So it's not easy courting companies in the Philippines. There are some differences to the manner of doing business in the West compared to many Asian countries. So we have to be very conscious of cultural practices, since this is very basic in conducting any kind of business. Giving face is very important in Asia. Family, barkada, circle of friends, golfing partners are very valuable in the Philippines. So we need to know which buttons to push if we would like to have a joint venture, or more so, control of a family enterprise. A second challenge in developing the PE sector is transparency. I thought that the era of 2 books, or having 2 or more accounting books, was gone after 2 decades of absence in the Philippines. But I was surprised that it's still very common. However, a positive development is that companies with a vision of expansion or even an IPO are now more conscious about having only 1 set of books, hiring a reputable accounting auditing firm, adopting ISO and other good business practices. They realize that the money saved through paying less tax is not worth it. Our current government has also shown its resolve to fight corruption and prosecute the corrupt. So there is now more incentive to pay the right taxes. Our BIR commissioner even faced head-on with our iconic boxer, Manny Pacquiao, regarding his taxes. So if they can run after him, they'll run after you. Companies such as ours are able to offer tax consulting services so that businessmen could be tax efficient and not be subject to prosecution through the maintenance of 2 books and legal practices. Through my meetings with investee companies, I discovered that not all companies pay bribes to get permits or licenses. A young CEO who we are arranging a PE fund for mentioned that he never paid any bribe to any government agency in an industry where most businessmen pay bribes just to get their licenses fast. This young CEO mentioned that there is some delay, but it's worth the wait. He said that once a company starts paying bribes, the whole network of sharks smell the blood of their future victims, and these companies are then trapped. I also encountered some family corporations that treat their company's bank accounts as their personal bank account, and this has proven disastrous for their companies. No wonder they're distressed. Some local companies still do not practice principles of good governance, so their key man occupies the key positions of chairman, president, and CEO, and their wife is the CFO or treasurer. So it's all in the family. Okay, so now let's move away from all the negatives and look at the positive developments in the PE sector. I'll talk first about our company's vision related to PE, discuss how we work on understanding cultural nuances, and the sharing of best practices with local businessmen. PGIMI's vision related to the PE sector is to be able to assist Philippine companies expand their operations not only locally but also overseas. The upcoming ASEAN integration mentioned by Dr. Villegas offers a lot of opportunities to companies with good track records and innovative products, services, and business models. We would like to be a partner of these companies as they grow their business. We are a matchmaker that puts local companies and foreign investors who would like to enter certain industries. We also serve as a cornerstone investor for certain corporations or projects. I was surprised that Bloomer only had a 120 million US fund. I think after listening to me, they'll increase it to 1 billion over. Our company has over $1 billion US of potential deals in the pipeline since starting our PE business line in the Philippines only 6 months ago. We are very excited to announce a landmark deal worth several hundred millions of dollars in the coming weeks. In fact, my chairman right now is overseas to hopefully finalize the shareholders agreement. My chairman always reminds me of her mandate when she sent me back home to the Philippines to drive a paradigm shift, to enhance business practices of local companies and for them to level up. Some local businessmen still have challenges on time management, sense of urgency, lack of financial discipline, and leadership. We intend to provide not only PE, but corporate advice and help enhance their business practices to cope with their planned expansion. We would like to contribute our share to help the Philippines rise again as one of our top economies in Asia, since we've been there during the 50s and 60s, when the Philippine economy was second to Japan. There are so many positive forecasts on the Philippine economy, and I'm also a positive thinker like Dr. Villegas. When our overseas Filipinos, like me, return to our homeland and bring home the dollars earned, the global mindset, and know-how, economic development would be hastened through more private equity. To ensure the success of PE, we need to work on the business as well as the cultural nuances and personal relations of the investors and investees. We have to be familiar with the dating game, the engagement, the marriage rituals. We should not rush, but take some time until the investors and investees are comfortable with each other. Many companies would be hesitant to receive PE investment unless they are fully secure and feel no threat. We need to strategize so that the investor is warmly welcomed and becomes part of the family. We need to consider the feelings and motivations of local businessmen in running their business and make them realize that a foreign partner, a foreign point of view would help. When I worked for MNCs, I also experienced the need for building of good relations with our foreign counterparts. But the needs of our local businessmen are more personal, and we need to address them. The Filipino is very emotional, very sentimental. I have been exposed to a lot of foreign cultures in my 20 years overseas, so I'm now sharing best practices on how to deal with these foreign investors. Most of our local businessmen have been used to getting their capital requirements through pure bank loans. That's why our banking industry is quite strong. But they do not know that PE is a good option for them and also could save a lot of interest rates. PE partners from overseas could add value to the company and enhance transparency and good governance. Many Filipinos, many businessmen are not yet familiar with PE, so they wouldn't like to venture into unknown territory. To facilitate the matching process of investors with investees, our company came up with a portal to automate the handling of investment proposals. We call our web portal ClickRen. A company executive who is looking for investors just needs to go to clickren.com to fill in the online template to upload the basic company information and investment requirements. So all of you in the audience, you could go to our portal this afternoon and put in your PE requirements. We will then require our investees to submit certain required documents, all of which are uploaded electronically. We would like to help save our environment and avoid going through stacks of paper with investment proposals. Our professional investors could view various investment opportunities and drill down to get more details on an investment opportunity which they find interesting. Once an investee uploads the basic information template and documents, our corporate solutions and risk management team would do a preliminary due diligence to validate the information sent. Once this is done, the generic information about the investment opportunity would then be uploaded into ClickRen. We also send marketing materials and alerts to our investors certain postings which they may be interested in. We have over 5,000 investors in our global pool of investors, since we have offices in Singapore, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and the US. The investing companies would then be requested to upload their company profile, executive summary, feasibility studies, business plan, audited financial statements, general information sheets, photos, videos, and other relevant documents into the ClickRank portal. This confidential information could only be accessed through the Investors Corner using a username and password provided to a specific investor. The documents are organized and indexed to facilitate the review of investment opportunity by the investor. Because of this automation, we were able to process a large deal in 6 weeks. In summary, I hope that I have provided you a glimpse